If there is anything that needs to be satirized and remixed, it is Trump talking about massive dumps. And by the way, extra points, if you can sample Trump saying massive dumps and me talking about it in a song, please do it.
Dumps. Big massive dumps. Dumps. Big massive dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps. Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps. Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
Dump. Big massive dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Sir, you just
Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
dump. Big massive dumps.
Donald Trump insisted multiple times that it was massive dumps that led him to lose the election, which is just
on another level, on another level.
Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Sir, you just
Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
dump. Big massive dumps. Dumps.
Dumps. Dumps.
Sir, you just
Dump, dump, dumps. Dumps. Dump.
dump. Big massive dumps.
you turn the
faucet on in areas where there's tremendous amounts of water, where the water rushes out to sea, because you could never handle it. People are flushing toilets 10 times, 15 times, as opposed to once.
Dumps.
Dumps.
Sir, you just won. Dump. Big, massive dumps. Dumps. Dumps.
What is going on here? What is going
All right, welcome everybody. There's just too much and too much news and too many important things to talk about to waste any more time on mimetic songs. So we're going to get right away from that. I am sorry I'm late. It's scheduled to start about 20 minutes ago. I had a massive technical breakdown where, let me just put it this way. If Satan existed, I imagine that he, they, or she would wield their power through Windows updates. That's basically the way I would characterize it if I had to. But yeah, so we had some technical issues to deal with, and I see people already getting banned. I haven't even started. People have already been banned left and right. So what's going on? Listen, I'm getting increasingly concerned that we are barreling towards Trump Riots, the sequel, sometime in August. And the reason I say this is that seemingly every day we realize that although there probably is some grift component to what is going on right now with Donald Trump, it appears that he really thinks he may be able to get back in power in August. And we learned today that it is not just Trump who thinks he might be getting, quote, reinstated. By the way, what does that even mean? We elect presidents and then they're sworn in. What does it even mean to be reinstated? It's ridiculous. You're no longer the president. Two former Republican senators apparently believe the same thing. This appears to really be a real thing. And the scary part is not that it might happen. The scary part is that when it doesn't, the QAnon people are going to go absolutely nuts and do more violence once again. So let me kind of paint the picture for you. We first heard from the New York Times' Maggie Haberman that Donald Trump is privately telling people, we got to watch what's going on with these audits, or audits, as some people say, in Arizona and other places. And Trump is starting to privately tell people, I think I might be back in office in August. Why August? We don't know. It was going to be March and then April and then, okay, right? So, but that's the original report. It's denied by people like Lara Trump and others. But then today we get this tweet from Maggie Haberman. This is an article from the right-wing National Review, which says Maggie Haberman is right. Listen, Maggie Haberman understated the insanity of what's going on. Donald Trump really does believe that he, along with two former Republican senators, will be reinstated to office this summer. This is the right-wing National Review. Okay, whoa. I have an ad blocker on and I'm just getting crushed, guys. What is happening here? 2 days ago, let's look at this. 2 days ago, the New York Times' Maggie Haberman reported that Donald Trump has been telling a number of people he's in contact with that he expects he will be reinstated by August. In response, many figures on the right reinserted their fingers into their ears and started screaming about fake news. Instead, they should have listened, because Haberman's reporting was correct. I can attest, this is Charles Cook writing it. I can attest, well, where did it go? From speaking to an array of different sources, that Donald Trump does indeed believe genuinely that he, along with former Senators David Perdue and Martha McSally, will be, quote, reinstated. Now, the quotes around reinstated must be used because there is no such process in the United States of America. Understand, reinstated, your term is over. You didn't win. That's it. After the office this summer, after audits of the 2020 election in Arizona, Georgia, and a handful of other states have been completed. I can attest, too, that Trump is trying hard to recruit journalists, politicians, and other influential figures to promulgate this belief, not as a fundraising tool or as an infantile bit of trolling or a trial balloon, but as a fact. Understand this. For all this time, we were wondering. People would come to me and they would say, sir, do you think Trump believes any of this stuff? Or do you believe that it's just a grift to raise money? And I would say, I don't know, it sort of seems like a grift. Maybe early Trump thought maybe there would be something here, but I think it's mostly a grift to raise money. I was wrong. And I am here right now, people, to tell you I was wrong about two things. And I'm coming to you to plead for forgiveness. Number one, I thought it was mostly a grift. And we are even hearing from the right now, it's not a grift. Trump really thinks he might become president again sometime during the next period of time between now and January of 2025. I was wrong. I thought it was really 99% a grift. Number two, I was wrong that QAnon would fade and never achieve a significant following. I was wrong, people. I'm demanding apologies on Twitch. I'm demanding apologies on YouTube. Everywhere, apologies. Okay. So the context here is Trump really thinks he might be reinstated in August. Apparently, Martha McSally and David Perdue think they might be reinstated in August. It's not just a grift. And here's the key. 20% of Americans now believe at least one QAnon conspiracy theory. And in fact, if we're going to be thorough, and I kind of want to be thorough with you guys today, let me actually find the article. Wait a second. Where is it? 20% of Americans. Here we go. Look at this. So this is about there's enough people in the country that believe this stuff, which is where the violence could come from. Oh, no. Now I have to allow ads. Can you imagine? The ad blocker worked. Now I've got to turn it off. Okay, check. Look at this. Look at how much of a page there is. Look at this little block of web page. Oh, now I've got more. These ads, I mean, it is toxicity. Toxicity. By the way, let me tell you about Blue Chew, Blue Blocks, as well as Teddy Stratford shirts, sheath underwear. These ads, though, are insane, okay? 15% of Americans agree with the QAnon statement that the U.S. government, media, and financial worlds are controlled by a group of Satan-worshipping pedophiles who run a global child sex trafficking operation. 20% of Americans agree with the statement, there is a storm coming soon that will sweep away the elites in power and restore the rightful leaders. 15% of Americans agree that because things have gotten so far off track, true American patriots may have to resort to violence in order to save our country. Okay? 1 out of 5 people in this country believes the QAnon stuff. And simultaneously, we are now learning that Donald Trump believes that he may be reinstated. So all of this, with Trump's restarted rallies starting within the next 10 to 14 days, reportedly, I don't think it bodes particularly well for the remainder of this year. Where do we even go from here? Let's read a little bit more of this. It will be, this is a good, remember, this is a right-wing article. This is from the National Review. It will be tempting for weary conservatives to dismiss this information as old news or as an irrelevance. It will be tempting, too, to downplay the enormity of what is being claimed, or to change the subject, or to attack the messengers that they must, by implying they must hate Trump and his voters. But such temptations should be assiduously avoided. We are not talking here about a fringe figure within the Republican tent, but about a man who hopes to make support for his outlandish claims a litmus test of sorts as he decides whom to endorse for state and federal contests in 22 and 24. If you're wondering, so now we're tying it into the January 6th commission. If you were wondering why whatever number of Republicans it was voted against the commission, it's not just because the commission would incriminate them. Many of them have guilty minds and they should. A bunch of these Republicans voted against the commission because they rightly have assessed that Donald Trump is watching who is in favor of the commission and who is against it. And Trump plans to have his naughty and nice list, his rhino and real Republican list, going into 2022. And they don't want to be on Trump's bad side. So all of these stories that we've been covering for the last several months, the audits, the delusions, the restarting of the rallies, Trump's desperation to reconnect with his voters, continued belief from Republicans not only in QAnon conspiracies, but that Donald Trump is really the president. All of this stuff together is now pointing to an electorate that we know they're willing to turn to violence because it happened on January 6th. And in sum total, this is all pretty wild. People asking, is there a date for the August thing? I have no idea. No, there's no particular date yet. Another article, by the way, this is an important one also, the Washington Post. A surreal, submerged, conspiratorial, Trump-centered political universe still thrives. As if we didn't know this. This is by Philip Bump. For more than 5 years, the rallies never stopped. It was a rally in Phoenix in July 2015 that elevated Trump's presidential campaign into real contention. Trump's rallies over the next 16 months became cultural events, manifestations of the undercurrent of support that ended up tipping the scales that November. Even after Trump won, the rallies continued. Less than a month after the election was called, Trump was back speaking before adoring audiences. This goes on to say, hold on, let me see, where did I want to skip to? The rallies are loosely aimed at the same, this is now about the America First rallies that are the Gates Green rallies. The rallies are loosely aimed at the same falsehood that Trump has worked to promote since his ouster, that he didn't lose last year. At a large retirement community in Florida early last month, that's funny, Gates and Green encouraged the audience to recognize Trump as the legitimate president, which he isn't. Another stop on their slapdash tour landed them in Arizona to promote the bizarre and tainted election review effort being conducted on behalf of some Republicans in the state. It's not just that they're leveraging Trump's style, they're leveraging the new energy of the Trump movement, energy centered on wild and obviously untrue claims about the election. This is clearly coming, and I am not here to pretend to know exactly what form it's going to take, because you know what? I never thought QAnon would get the level of prominence that it got, and I thought the entire Trump thing was a grift. At this point, it really seems that it's not merely a grift, and that there is a large share. Remember, 74 point something million people voted for Trump. You only need a few thousand of that 74 million to go completely bonkers, to wreak absolute havoc on the United States. So that's my concern. I am not going to underplay the risk. Now, I hope that it doesn't happen, but I underplayed the risk before, and that didn't work out so well. All right. So that's the big picture of what's going on. Oh, man, I've been ranting nonstop for 15 minutes. Let me just thank a few people. Thank you on Twitch to Troix, Benevolent Goddess, as well as Real Time Fan. Life is Good grabbed a Twitch sub. Pizza Man DRC, number 5. Pink and Blonde, number 6. 20 months subscribed, Pink and Blonde. Louis Curtin, number 7. Very much appreciate that. And yeah, I'll open some phone lines if we get to 100 today. I would love to do that. Also, from the standpoint of my website, I want to say thank you to Sabrina White, who just signed up with the rapidly expiring coupon code Memorial21. And a big thank you as well to Jonathan Belangon, who just signed up on my website as well. New members number 8 and 9. Let me get now, before we get, I have so much other stuff to go over with you guys. You have no idea how much we have to go over here. I do want to read some super chats. Death Row Boat says, "Sir, this is the super chat you will be reading." I did. Von Tux says, "Use Linux Ubuntu with Mate desktop or KDE are friendly to Windows users. More control of the update schedule." All right. Pear says, "Maybe an NRA sales pitch. Compare the rebel politicians and weapon makers." All right. Beautiful. Andrew says, "The leftist punk rock band Rise Against is releasing a new album tonight. Check out the song The Numbers Tell Me It's Not Powerful." I will look at that. Greg says, "I forgive you for being wrong, David. In times like these, it's hard to be certain about anything except for internet ads. There are people around me who believe QAnon. I'm in Europe. I've heard that there's even European QAnon, if you can imagine anything more despicable." "For your okra soup, David," says Lily. Thank you. Sunil says, "David, do you ever feel like the average American doesn't take this stuff as seriously as they should?" Absolutely. Absolutely. I do want to say thank you to Weatherboxer for gifting 5 subs, as well as Astro Lycos for the sub. Napa Skipdog has subscribed. So has Margot Cabot and Andre Bavaria. That's 7, putting us at 16. Drew says, "Dream blunt rotation, David Lynch, David Letterman, David Pacman." I think that's a compliment. Arresting Trump will help cut off QAnon's fire. I don't see that happening. We talk about the elite of madness, the benefice of fear. Daratan says, as I leapt from my all-form sofa and spilled the mushroom coffee on my Teddy Stratford shirt, I cannot help but feel this is Trump scaremongering for money. Wow. Aggressive. What do you think of Alan Lichtman? He's gotten every single election year right, including 16 and 20. He says infighting hurts the party in the White House. Dems have it, Republicans don't. He's been on the show a couple of times, and I tend to value his analysis. I feel the Arizona audit will lie and say they found fraud or create fraud. What do you think will happen if it comes true? No, you know what I think will happen? The Arizona audit will find nothing, and then they'll say that's evidence that they've covered up the fraud really well. That's how conspiracy theorists work. If they find evidence, they found evidence. If there's no evidence, it's evidence they covered up the evidence. This is how they work, my friends. Okay. And lastly, thank you to Andrew Gantz, who has just signed up at joinpacman.com. Let's get to a couple of other things. Oh, okay. Hold on. I have my agenda here. How is the new YouTube channel doing? It's doing really well. We have dumped in 2,340 subscribers. This is the channel on which clips from this stream appear, as well as the garden tours and everything. davidpacman.com/PacmanLive. This is the new YouTube channel. Be one of the first 5,000. It's a really special number. If you're one of the first 5,000, you're way ahead of everybody that comes in after, and you're basically holding for the long term. So the new YouTube channel doing really, really well. And it's only been up a few days, and it's all crazy what's going on there. Okay, number 2. A few people emailed me about this. I didn't see it, but I do want to talk about it. People said, David, this is the long and short of what the question is. Did you see Levy Rosman on his chess stream absolutely destroy the entire wealth management and financial advising industry? I didn't see it. I like Levy. I didn't see this. I'm going to give my take on this. And I know that there are financial advisors and wealth managers in the audience, and this may alienate some of them, but I'm going to say it anyway. Okay. What are my credentials in this field? I have a master's degree in business administration with a focus on financial advising. I interned at a wealth management firm, and I have interviewed numerous financial advisors for myself. So that take it or leave it. Okay. I'm just giving you my credentials, be they pathetic or not, or whatever. Okay, fine. I believe that 99% of what financial advisors and wealth managers do for people, you can learn in a month. Okay. And here's the thing. The world, I have friends who are financial advisors and wealth managers. Okay, guys, the beautiful people. There's lots of industries that we don't really need. I have lots of friends that are realtors. 90% of what realtors do could be replaced by just working with a lawyer a little bit earlier and changing some systems around. But today's not about realtors. It's about financial advisors and wealth managers. Okay. Here's the reality. Financial advisors and wealth managers make money by convincing you that it's really difficult to manage this stuff for yourself. And oftentimes, it's just not. For people of average intelligence, if you spend a month simply learning about basic tax strategy, understanding what types of investments are tax advantaged, the difference between a Roth IRA and regular, all this different, and then you simply understand the way to win in the long term is not by picking individual stocks. It's not by picking individual stocks. The way you win in the long term is you reduce the costs of your investment. You can use firms like Betterment, Vanguard, and others, where sometimes all you pay is 5 measly basis points per year. Okay. You eliminate any emotionality simply by coming up with an asset allocation plan. Here's a really simple one. This is not advice, but here's something. Yeah, people are saying you can learn this in a week, not a month. One way that people do it is you take your age and you subtract it from 120. That's the percentage of your assets you put in stocks. Okay. So if you're 35, 120 minus 35 is 85. You put 85% in stocks, you put 15% in bonds. Lowest possible cost. You say, well, what stock fund? The widest possible. Total US, all right? You want to get complicated? You take your stocks and you do 70% US, 30% international. Then you do the rest in bonds, okay? Each year, you drop the stocks by 1% as you get a year older, and then you rebalance back to this. That's it, guys. That's it. And the way that financial advisors and wealth management make money, in part, is by convincing you that you can do way better if you pay them a 1 or 2% a year fee, that you need complicated instruments. Now, you want to pick some stocks? Fine. I've got 6 to 8% in individual stocks. I've talked about what that portfolio is. Consider it speculative. Consider it speculative. You want to diversify into crypto? 3 to 5% in crypto. Great. Okay. I do think that Jack Bogle, and if you go beyond that, even go to Benjamin Graham's writing from 1920, this stuff really is not as complicated as the industry wants you to believe. Now, there are real questions that I think financial advisors are valuable for. In my experience, tax attorneys are actually even more valuable. So I've gone to some of these folks and I go, good sirs, I have 5 specific questions. Let me pay you by the hour. I just did this last year. I had some specific questions about tax implications, about some multi-state questions that I had, about some of these different things. And I said, what do you charge by the hour? Oh, we charge whatever it was, right? $250 an hour. I want 2 hours of your time. Give me answers to these questions, right? I think that that can be very valuable. But with a lot of this other stuff, it's really an industry that depends on people not informing themselves. Are there some cases where people's situations are really complicated? Sure. Yeah, maybe. I guess sure. But yeah, I don't know exactly what Levy said, but if Levy's perspective was similar. So here's like a question where let me give you an example. For a lot of people, here's like a question where you would want a financial advisor. I have a mortgage at 3.5%. The Trump, here's how much money is left on the mortgage. The Trump tax reform limited the state and local tax deductions, which includes mortgage interest and real estate taxes. Here's how much cash I have in a bond fund. Is it worth it for me to pay off the mortgage? That's a specific actionable question for which a lot of people would be well advised to hire someone to evaluate that question. Okay. But for the most part, really low cost, long-term, passive investing, come up with an asset allocation, do, the bogglehead or boglehead, three fund portfolio, et cetera. Very good. None of this is financial advice. Beautiful. Let's move on. Let me say thank you to Ali's, as well as Jay Tandaway, AK Cruiser, and Nolan for the Twitch subscriptions. Appreciate that, guys. That puts us at 21. And also big thank you to Renata Azar for signing up on my website with the coupon code BETTER21. Remember that the code Memorial21 expires tomorrow night. All right. I have one unban request I have 2 unban requests to adjudicate. I don't have my gavel. Let's evaluate the first unban request. This is from a user named Vader's Grandma. They came in and sent the following messages, looks like today. F, I, yeah, IGF, Hujui, Oot, Eat. They were timed out and then they were banned. They then came in and said, sorry for the trolling. I want to ask your opinion on Susan Collins. That's a denial. We're adults here. That's not how you get my attention. We can't encourage that kind of behavior. Also, another user named You Dead showed up and said, I never understand what Biden says. It's unintelligible. Biden seems like a dementia patient. I'm here to laugh at the president who wears diapers. They were banned. They came back and said, feel the burn. Nah, that's a perma ban, guys. That's a perma. We just don't need that crap. So there is that, and we got that out of the way. Okay. Let me go next to... Oh, yeah, this is a whole thing. Here's a question about the Noam Chomsky interview that came in via voicemail. Let's listen to that.
Hi, David. Were you able to get Noam Chomsky to purchase some sheath underpants?
You know, the topic of sheath underpants didn't come up with Noam Chomsky, I have to admit. It didn't come up. Hunter Biden. Here's something about Hunter Biden that came in.
Hey, David, it's Eric from Mass again. I got bad news for you. The Hunter Biden, you don't
He's got bad news for me.
need to worry about the emails. You just got to worry about the images on there because I'm not even going to say. But, yeah, I've seen still images, and it's disgusting. But you'll cover that up and whatever because,
I'm going to cover that up.
you know, you are for these whack jobs, and no matter what anyone
What whack job have I been for ever?
does, they're great, and everyone else is an asshole. So just let you know, you're on the wrong side of this, and when it comes out, I feel sorry for you, dude, because you have no clue what's going on, and you think the thing with Flynn is an attempted coup? Yeah. No.
What does that mean? That it's going to be a real coup? I don't even understand that. And then here's something about Argentina. Let's see what this is.
Hey, David, if there was a war between Argentina and the United States, which side would you be on?
Oh, that is rich. You know, something makes me think it's not really going to make a difference. I think in such a war, the U.S. would prevail. That's my instinct on that one. I don't think that would be a close one. And I would probably be against the war. You know, if there was a war between the U.S. and Argentina, I would probably be against the war. That's my instinct on that one. Okay. Let's do a few more super chats and then we're going to move on. Svein Sigurdsson from Iceland says, as an outsider, I was just wondering if overall outrage focuses on a single probable point or just an attempt to influence non-informed people. Man, I don't know what that question means. I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't know. Do you think there's a chance active military or police would join the potential coup, convinced Trump is right? Anecdotally, yes. I mean, look at the January 6th riots. The January 6th riots were filled with off-duty police and former or current members of the military. Will the military support a Trump coup? No. No, it will not. And Dalton Haskin. Where did that go? Dalton Haskin says, David, the blood libel skeleton of QAnon goes back 1,000 years. Unfortunately, this iteration won't go away so easily. David, fan of the channel, hope you're doing well after all of the anti-Semitic incidents. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Thank you for continuing to provide great content. Okay, let me just do a couple other voicemails because I did have, speaking of the anti-Semitism thing, I do have just a couple other voicemails. Let me see if I can find them here. Yeah, so the trans-obsessed woman now seems to have shifted to being obsessed with Jews. Take a listen.
I just found this other name for a Hebrew, like a Jewish person, that I thought might cheer you up. And it's pronounced Gadif. Anyways, it means an African worker.
Oh, my God. So just a lot of fixation now on Judaism. Here's another one.
I don't want to say this to sound anti-Semitic because I do actually, believe in a lot of the regulations in the Bible. I believe in spirituality. Like, if I saw somebody actually being Jewish, I'd probably...
If you saw someone being Jewish, that's interesting terminology. That could be problematic terminology, to be perfectly frank.
Probably think that was great, but I haven't ever seen that.
No, she's never seen anyone being Jewish.
I mean, sometimes I feel like people are mixing with certain genetics to...
We're starting to get almost into like phrenology here. Let's keep going. I think that there was like one more from this gentle lady. Here it is.
Oh, and one more thing is
This time calling on speaker.
the school that I went to in Vermont, it was like for Jewish people or something.
She went to a school. Hold on a second. She went to a school in Vermont that was for Jewish people or something, but she said in the other voicemail, she's never seen someone being Jewish. That's not making a lot of sense to me.
And I'm not Jewish, and they didn't
I guess, yeah.
teach me anything about Judaism. I learned like a little bit about science and stuff, but it was mainly about poetry and stuff like that.
Wow, Jewish school taught mostly poetry. That's interesting. Get off my stream. All right. That's enough. Let's move on here. Thank you to Chantilly, as well as David Chadman, now subscribed 20 months. Thanks to Beta Star as well, putting us at 25. And just a reminder, guys, the number one way that I've read about in medical journals to support this show is to get a membership at joinpacman.com. The Memorial Day coupon code expires tomorrow night. That code is Memorial21. It gives you a year membership for $19. It gives you a monthly membership for $1.90 a month. Our attorney, accountant, and our entire staff was beating down the door when I was setting up this coupon code saying, do not do this. Do not do this. And I double locked it. There's a reason I put a deadbolt on the studio door, and I did it. Okay. Don't make me regret that. Don't make me regret that, because that's a really, really big thing. Okay. Quick fruit update for those of you who follow me on Instagram. This is a really interesting kind of strawberry. I ate one of these today. Really, really good. I have to tell you, I would eat one of these again. No, it's a dragon fruit. I really recommend this fruit, guys. This is a really, really strong recommendation from me. It is delicious. It is delicious. And this yellow one is sweeter than the one that's red on the outside. And it's almost like a kiwi consistency with bigger seeds. It's one of my favorite new fruits. I just learned about it. All right. So I have not had the dragon fruit that's purple on the inside. I want to find that. I have not been able to find it anywhere in the Northeast. I've been scouring all over the place for it. But, and these are like kiwi seeds. They're not like poppy seeds. These are like kiwi seeds. Delicious. Really, really great. So anyway, if you're into fruit and fruit-related posts, you can follow me on Instagram. We did this already. We did this. I'm just clearing things out of here. Okay. Oh, and people saying check Pacman Live. Let's see. Wow, look at that. Strong growth on Pacman Live. This is the second YouTube channel. And we've got some cool stuff happening over there. Totally new channel. And davidpacman.com/Pacman Live. Yeah, really, really great stuff. We just launched this. Okay, let's get into the Rudy Giuliani podcast. A bunch of people wrote to me and said, David, Rudy interviewed someone who roomed with a communist. It's not even an interview with a communist. It was just somebody whose roommate was a communist, and you really got to see it. Let's check it out. I haven't pre-screened this, so let's just start. Let's dive in.
Rudy Giuliani, and I'm back with another edition of Rudy's Common Sense. So today we have with us a very interesting guest, who I think can open up our eyes to many things that are going on in this country. Maybe give us a little more of a sense of where it's all coming from.
To be perfectly frank, I'd be more interested in an interview with someone whose roommate had 10 cats than with someone whose roommate was a communist. Like, living with the communist seems easier than living with the person with the 10 cats. That's just me, but I don't know if that's as interesting to Rudy.
Morgan Zagers. Morgan is the founder and the creator of an organization that has a name that I just love.
Yeah.
Young Americans Against Socialism. I have to believe her decision to do this was prophetic.
Yeah.
This is exactly what, if we didn't have it, we'd have to create right now. And Morgan is a young woman, but a very, very accomplished young woman. She's already run a very credible race for public office in a Democratic district against a Democratic opponent in a Democratic year, which all counts. You know that.
This only got 23,000 views somehow.
She got 44% of the vote. That means, that was once described to me by a great American senator as when you run a good race and you just lose, you have money in the bank. So I don't know how much money Morgan has in the bank, but she got a lot of political money in the bank. And she is darn good.
All right, here we go.
How did it get started?
Well, again, thank you for the opportunity to come and speak with you.
Oh, my pleasure.
I can't thank you enough, really.
This almost seems like it didn't happen live. Is something weird about these cuts where it seems almost like these people's parts were recorded separately? It's really weird the way it's cut.
To understand why I would start an organization with this name and this mission really requires a little backstory. I'm from upstate New York. I actually just moved to Texas, though. So I yesterday moved into my house, and it's just been a whirlwind of a weekend. But I'm like many of the people who have led a blue state and have now arrived in Texas or Florida or Nashville.
I think this is the actress who played Borat's daughter. Yeah.
But when I was in upstate New York, I grew up under the Cuomo administration, and my dad was a colonel in the military. And now
but call it the Cuomo regime. You might as well, right?
he's in the Army Reserves as a colonel still. And my family didn't raise me to be political, but they at least raised me to have a very great respect for American values, America's history, our founding, and of course, just history in general, learning from history in order to not repeat it. And, you know, that lesson comes up so many times these days as my generation fails to understand what we are really going through as a country. But I was from upstate New York.
What was the question? Why did you start this group? I'm going to skip I can't do the preamble. Let's go to Rudy's next question.
Promises from a communist. And I realized that so many young Americans like me, maybe we think that we know what we would say if we're put in this situation. Maybe we feel like we understand American values, American history, world history, politics, economics, all of that stuff. But then right there in that moment, even I didn't know what to say. And so I started Young Americans Against Socialism to make educational videos and content that
We're 5 minutes in. Remember, the question was, why did you start this? She's been speaking for 4 minutes, and the answer could have just been this. I started it to make educational videos and content.
Will equip young Americans with the basic information that they need so that when they enter these conversations with leftists, because we know that it's going to keep happening more and more, they have the intellectual ammunition to really fight back and win that conversation.
So in essence, you educated yourself so you can educate others. And if you could acquire the knowledge for yourself, which you did, you then want to pass it on to others.
Absolutely.
Who would find this interesting, guys? Seriously, who on earth would find this even remotely interesting?
The numbers are a little crazy, and I'm actually quite optimistic about it. I don't know if you've seen them, but in 2019, Gallup said that 58% of young Americans would choose socialism over capitalism, and a Victims of Communism poll that they did with YouGov showed that 70% of young Americans would vote for a socialist.
Could you tell us young, 25, younger, 30, younger?
Millennials and Gen Z. So it was the two young generations up until about 35 years old.
Okay, that's a big group. Okay.
Definitely. And what's interesting too is they aren't the largest voting bloc.
It's weird that the room tone from her audio cuts abruptly every time they cut to Rudy. It's just something technically is happening here that's weird.
Yet, but they will be by about 2028, Gen Z and millennials. Now, what was interesting about these numbers is you have 70% of young Americans saying they want to seize the means of production, right? I highly doubt they've ever heard that term before. They cannot tell you what that means. And in reality, socialism is that economic step for communism because it's the government.
Apparently, this entire interview was almost knocked offline by an errant Windows update. I read that.
Taking over the means of production, seizing the means of production of private business and private industry. So when I see these numbers, I think my generation cannot possibly want that. If they fully understood, they wouldn't want it. And
what a just pointless interview. Let's see where Rudy sells something. Let's see.
Young Americans can make that connection. We are suffering right now because a communist regime lied and suppressed the truth from the world.
This would be a good time to take a short break. I accomplished a lot in 2020, exposing the truth, establishing the relationship with you, working tirelessly.
Is he selling coins now?
For America. And I came to know the work and value of the people at American Hartford Gold.
Oh my God.
You see, you buy gold not only for what you know, but you buy gold for what you don't know.
Right.
American Hartford Gold is the company you can trust when it comes to buying gold. They sell physical gold and silver delivered right to your door or inside of your IRA.
They'll insert the coins right into your IRA. All right. So there's that. Let's see if there's any other ads here. I mean, quite frankly, oh, look, here's one, I think. Rudy's like some kind of computer thing. Let's see.
By a bad man, but not a madman. this would be a good time to take a short break. Your credit card company found suspicious charges on your card. That's simple identity theft. It's annoying, but they cover it.
This is comedy gold, yeah.
The type of fraud you really need to worry about
Fraud.
is home title theft, a devastating crime.
Home title theft? What? Anybody who owns a home has title insurance, right? How is this even a product anyone could need?
That takes you off your home's title, and you're not covered by insurance or most identity theft programs.
I don't even understand the crime. So you have title insurance, but there's someone steals the title and it's not covered?
That's why you need Home Title Lock. Here's how easy it is for cyber criminals
Whoa, this guy's wearing a hoodie.
To get you. The title documents to our homes are kept online. The thief forges your signature on a quitclaim deed stating you just sold your home, and he's the new owner. Then he borrows money using your home's equity. And
man, that's a freaking big scam. I don't even know. I mean, that seems like a difficult scam to pull off. I know a little bit about this. I've been involved in a lot of real estate transactions. It seems there are far easier ways to scam people. Does anybody know, like, could this really happen as easily as he's pointing it out? Like, the amount of paperwork to forge a quitclaim deed, don't you then have to file it with the Hall of Records and then go? This seems like an incredibly unlikely scam.
Leaves you in debt. You won't know until late payment or eviction notices arrive. The instant Home Title Lock detects someone tampering with your home's title, they help shut it down. Let's get you protected. Go to Home Title Lock.
Oh my God, Gingrich is on the website.
.com and register your address to see if you're already.
Right, doesn't it have to be? It has to be notarized by an attorney and then filed with the city. What a weird scam. What a weird scam. All right, let's do just one more ad because the actual interview is just go in the toilet. Flushed 10 or 15 times. Let's see if there's any other ads that Rudy does here. The interview continues. When would be another time to take a short break? Oh, here we go. Hold on. Here's another one.
Have a wide assortment of other incredible products.
Okay. Presented without comment. Presented without comment.
It's like their mattress toppers, sheets, towels, and slippers, and more. Listeners have helped build My Pillow into the incredible company it is today.
Yeah.
And Mike Lindell wants to
He seems genuinely angry that there are ads.
give back to all of you. Pick some pillows or pick several of the other great products, and you can get super discounts on My Pillow products by going to mypillow.com, promo code Rudy.
Right.
Or call 1-800-725-7759, promo code Rudy right now.
Should I call that number? Should we call My Pillow? That could be an interesting thing to do. We could speak to someone. All right, I think we're done with this. Guys. Okay, so that's that. Let me just make sure I get everybody thanked here. Oh wow, huge dumps of memberships on the website. Carrie McElray just signed up with the code Memorial21. Nathan Landick just signed up on my website. Per Tiren has signed up on the website. Rick Edmondson has just signed up. Jonathan Zablin, as well as Diego Alessandro, are new members. Haley Brady and Deborah Smith have just signed up. Summer Vance, as well as Austin Swan, are new members. This is nuts. Zach Rogers and Annette Spalding, that's 12. Jason Iverson and Ben Schnur have signed up. That's 14. Wow. Putting us at 39. Also, thanks over on Twitch to Christina, as well as Warwick, for the subscriptions, putting us at 41. Appreciate that, guys. Oh, and sorry, Terry Zablin. Didn't I mention Terry Zablin already? In any case, another membership from Terry Zablin, number 42. So people want me to call My Pillow. What would I even say? And you know what? I don't know, like, there could be some legal issues with that. One party, two party consent. Let me not do that right now. That could actually, I don't want to get into any legal problems. That's not so good. Let me look at a couple of other super chats here. These Trump events are going to cause mass COVID outbreaks. Doesn't seem to be talked about. I don't really think they will. I think that, these events are outside. And even with just like 30% of people vaccinated, I think they probably won't. David, I got married in December and bought a TS shirt for the occasion. What's TS? I don't wear it much. Oh, Teddy Stratford. I don't wear it much, but it was great for the wedding. Thanks. Beautiful. Beautiful. Chakaseki says, were any plant fibers found on the Arizona ballots? Yeah, supposedly they found plant fibers on the Arizona ballots from a very rare type of dragon fruit. And caused a lot of problems for people. Any advice on research tips and methods on identifying and filtering disinformation? Yes, you've got to be dealing with primary sources. When you see an article on Facebook and it's one of those websites that's summarizing an article, you've got to go to the original source. Start with the original source. That's my recommendation. John says, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. Fauci's emails could help the GOP in 22. If Republicans will win in 22, they might actually impeach Fauci. What? Keep in mind, this is the current GOP we're talking about. I think Dr. Fauci is going to be retired very soon. He's almost 81. I think Dr. Fauci is going to be fine. Okay. All right. Let's continue. Okay. Here's the next thing I wanted to look at. Apparently, Jesse Lee Peterson was interviewed on OAN about white pride or something. This is bizarre. I've not pre-screened this, but let's take a look at it together.
And we should have never fallen for this idea that, we just want to come out of the closet. Just let us out of the closet. And then they said, we want to go to church, but we don't want to be talked about at church. So a lot of preachers stopped mentioning that homosexuality is wrong, that something has gone wrong, and they must repent and return to God.
What did he say, that sub-Sahara is wrong? What was that word he said? Sub-Sahara? What? That's weird. What's wrong with sub-Sahara?
Now they have taken over the churches. There are a lot of preachers who are afraid to speak out against so-called Pride Month. I started the White History Month in July. This is our 4th year coming up when we're celebrating.
Even OAN must think this is crazy, right?
White history. And what I've noticed that in America, a country that was founded by white people and created by white people, one of the greatest countries on this side of heaven.
One of.
And so white people invited all this other stuff to happen, but you could celebrate everything but white history. We must remember white.
You can't celebrate white history.
Because if it wasn't for that, there would be no America. And so they got Black history, women history, Mexican history, so-called gay pride. What's pride? What's happy about being perverted? There's nothing good about that, living in sin, right? But we celebrate, but they celebrate that. But when it comes to white history, they're afraid to even mention white history. But we got to bring that back because that's who made America great. We got to show our appreciation. And not one Christian should be celebrating.
What is he talking about?
Celebrating gay pride. They should be praying that these people repent and overcome the fallen state, return to the Father. God is not pleased in allowing that his children are allowing this to happen in a Christian country. It's not a secular country. It's a Christian country. So we got to bring back Christianity and love.
You're exactly right, because all of us are fallen in sin. We all have our sins and our flaws and our vices, but we don't make that the center of our personality. We don't identify it.
Wow. It's not too crazy for OAN. She likes it. That's nuts. I thought this would even be too much for them.
If someone's a liar, they shouldn't go around and have a lying flag and say, I'm a liar and that's who I am and that's everything that you need to know about me. No, because as Christians and a Christian nation, we find our identity in Jesus Christ. And
oh my God. That is something else, huh? That is really something else. Jesse refuses to even use the coupon code on my website because he thinks it's too self-righteous. Man, that is wild. That is wild. Big thank you to Kate Michelle for the website membership. I appreciate that, Kate. Jordan Dean just signed up using the code Memorial21. Charles White just signed up on my website. Also, thanks to Michael Massiera, who just grabbed a membership, putting us at 46. Also, big thank you on Twitch to Mandermayer, Suwanu, and Puffin Time, putting us at 49. Really crazy stuff. Okay. All right. Let's go now to a review of one of my old wacky interviews. People have been absolutely loving this. This is one that is not very well known. This is an anti-gay pastor explaining to me how his wife stretched him. Okay. Bizarre interview. Let's dig right in.
Classic interview. We're going back to
Christ. It is a combination. The merger took place in the early 60s between the Evangelical and Reformed Church, Congregational Christian
Listen
Church.
to this guy.
They're very liberal, and are partners, so to speak, with the Disciples of Christ. If you're ordained in one,
This gets
you can
nuts.
be a minister in the other, and vice versa. It seems here lately a lot of the church growth has come because of MCC churches that left the Metropolitan Community Church and joined the UCC.
I think the premise was that this guy left his own church because the church wasn't anti-gay enough.
But
okay, so what is well, that tells us what it is, but I want to get right into kind of your situation. So you're going to be stepping down as pastor of the Goldtree, Oklahoma UCC Church.
There it is.
And the issue you have a problem with is same-sex marriage. So outline what is the church's position and what is your position that is so different that it's causing you to resign?
Well, actually, at the local level, they agree with me. But the problem is that they don't want to leave the denomination. They're great people.
Let me reframe it because I want to walk people through it. Churches in the UCC recognize and can solemnize same-sex marriage, and that's what you disagree with, right? I just want to be totally explicit so our audience knows what we're talking about.
Absolutely. I first became a part of the UCC back in 2008 and was driving down to Oklahoma City. I was actually a part of a church that's mostly gay and lesbian for a while. And then once I graduated seminary, I had to find a preaching position. But the more personal study I did on my own, the more I realized that what I had been taught in seminary and what I had learned through the denomination wasn't accurate.
So explain that. So what is
I remember that I was really confused about this interview, where I think I was wondering why I was even doing it.
your view of same-sex marriage?
I define marriages between a man and a woman that comes from the Bible. What I've discovered over dealing with people in the denomination is that the more that they value experience over Scripture, the more liberal they are, and the more that they value the Bible over experience, then the more conservative they tend to be.
Now, as someone who has studied this and is a student of knowledge, so to speak, wouldn't it tell you that if people base their lives and their points of views more on their experience and their thinking than on what a book purportedly written by God tells them, maybe that's more what we should be listening to. Maybe experience and logic tell us more about how we should treat gay and lesbian couples than a book clearly written by humans but supposedly written by God tells us. Maybe we could learn from that.
Well, let me make one thing clear, and this is probably where some conservatives would disagree with me on, is that I don't think of this as being in salvation. I think there are people who are gay and lesbian who are genuinely saved.
That's nice.
Who I will see on the other side.
Okay.
And
he's expecting,
like my experience with Cathedral of Hope.
He's expecting to see some gays and lesbians in heaven, is what he's telling us.
Is that these people are genuinely wanting to do the right thing. They do reach out to people at the Gay Pride event, and there are thousands of people there. And it was really disheartening. You know, it's like the Sunday night service after that weekend would take place, and you might have 3 or 4 new people show up when you literally handed out thousands of flyers and buttons, and you had people participate in this parade either on Friday or Saturday.
Oh man!
And then very few people showed up. So
yeah, that could be tough. But
I'm not questioning the salvation of the people of Cathedral of Hope at all.
Yeah, and I'm not either. But salvation aside, just for a second, it sounds like your opposition to gay marriage, lesbian marriage, is primarily Bible-based. In other words, you didn't mention one anti-gay argument, which is it's not natural. You didn't mention it doesn't lead to reproduction. You didn't mention, well, it's a legal redefinition, and I don't like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but your opposition is mostly Bible-based. Is that right?
Well, I would say that, and here's the thing that really kind of threw a red flag up for me is that a lot of the people I spoke with that are gay and lesbian, whenever I would mention things like bigamy, polygamy, and other things, they never really wanted to draw the line there. They never really wanted to say, well, that stuff is bad. What I'm hearing now is the idea of marriage equality for everybody. We'll have to have some kind of limits, because if you don't, then what are you defining marriage as?
Well, that's interesting because, and again, you and I are talking, we're not having a legal discussion. Obviously, religious texts have no bearing at all on legal structure in this country. Whether you agree with that or not with me, we're leaving that out for this conversation. But let's address it from the point of view of the Bible. The Bible talks about men with multiple wives, men with multiple wives and concubines, et cetera, et cetera. So is it not arbitrary to say that because of the Bible, you are against gay marriage, for example, although the Bible talks about multiple wives, concubines, et cetera, it talks about stoning your wife if she's not a virgin on the wedding day, et cetera.
Right.
Isn't it all just kind of cherry picking?
Well, the thing about that is, and I'm glad you brought it up, is that
he seems thrilled I brought it up.
Really can't find one example of a healthy relationship where somebody did have multiple wives. I think the Bible mentions in 1 Corinthians that we have the Old Testament as an example for us. And really, if you think about it, could you really have 2, 3, 4 wives and love each one of them equally and the same? And I don't think you can.
So let's use that. I like that. I like that you're applying that question, which is, let's just think about this logically and say, can you really be married to 4 people and love them equally and have that type of relationship? And you're thinking the answer is no. What is it about a relationship between one man and one woman? Between 2 men or between 2 women where you couldn't have the same type of love that you have in a male-female relationship, applying just the kind of casual logic test that you applied just a second ago.
Well, to add something further to the design of marriage, I think the thing that makes marriage,
this guy will not answer any questions, will he?
So great is that you're married to somebody who thinks differently than you do. During the last 13 plus years, my wife has challenged me, stretched me.
Oh, man.
Really,
your wife has stretched you?
I would say, just when I first got married, I was very selfish and very self-centered, and I did not even realize how much so. During the time we've been married, I've learned how to care for others in a way that,
But James, what you're saying, James, if I may, you're going down an incredibly misogynistic path, which is suggesting that only women can teach men how to care for others. You're also using very anecdotal evidence, which as a student as someone who is an educated person,
right,
I'm sure you know that anecdotal evidence is not really what we should talk about to discuss broad policy or ideas. It seems incredibly offensive to so many men to say that women are what is needed to learn to care about others.
Well, I think it goes 2 ways. I think there are things that she's learned about life from me as well. I'm contrasting that to 2 men or 2 women because, at least in my opinion, it's a mirror image. You're with somebody who does think.
Hey, that's a pretty funny. So Noog Wrangler said, "I want to see young David debate current David." A project that could be an historic event in David Pakman Show history would be if someone can do me interviewing myself and like arguing with me from 2 different interviews or even from a couple of different interviews put together. That could be done really, really well. I'm going to put that challenge out there. If people want to put something like that together, that could be gigaviral.
Like you do, and isn't really going to challenge you on certain things.
I just think that this is a very silly argument, though, James, because the
whole
idea
conversation's
that
silly.
you think the same as anyone else who is the same gender as you, and therefore you wouldn't learn from marriage. I've honestly, I'm interested in this idea because I've never heard it before, but it's not a very strong argument, is it?
No.
Well, we'll have to agree to disagree on that one. I know, me personally, my life is very fulfilling.
Good.
And
now, if you were attracted to men, if you were born just being attracted to men, would you not be fulfilled if you were able to marry the man that you loved? Hypothetically, right? Would you not find fulfillment in that?
That's an interesting question. I probably...
It's almost like he'd never considered it before. If I were gay, would I find it fulfilling to be with a man?
Honestly, I don't know. I'm too.
It's so hard for you to imagine not being straight because you were born straight, correct?
Yeah, I'm not going to completely dismiss the science that I think you're referring to, but I think there needs to be more done as far as whether or not you can be born gay. I think there needs to be more scientific research.
So my question to you is, I guess, did you ever decide, James, when you were, I don't know, 7, to say, okay, well, right now I'm completely neutral between being attracted to men or women. I think I'm going to choose to be attracted to women. You never had that revelation, did you?
Well, most.
Oh my God. I forgot about this part of the interview.
So my time up until the age of 10, I was either playing basketball, football, or kickball. So
that's fair, perfectly fair. So at 10 is that when you made the decision? You could have gone either way. You could have been into guys, you could have been into girls, and you said, well, I'm 10, I've played enough kickball, now I'm going to choose to be into women. Is that how it went for you? Or did you at some point just realize you're attracted to women?
That's an interesting question. Who's the actual first girl I was attracted to?
And it's like the question isn't who was the first girl. Man, it really seems like he's not considered this stuff, or he's uncomfortable with the line of questioning is another possibility. That's another possibility. That would be sad if that's the case. But I don't know. It's kind of strange.
Probably 6th grade. I knew a girl named Shannon who had failed her grade, and so she was a little bit more shall say physically mature than some of the girls, and
so you were attracted to your classmates' breasts, and that was a physical reaction you had. You never said, I'm going to decide today to like my classmates' breasts. That just happened. Okay, I think I see that you're kind of putting up some obstacles, but I think the audience kind of gets where I'm going with this. We are out of time, James. I wish you the best of luck. I'm sorry that your opposition to marriage equality is leaving you to leave your position. I hope you find a new position, and I do thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much. Have a great day.
Yeah, we had to wrap up pretty quick there. Man, I forgot about some of that stuff. That's pretty interesting. I'm not going to lie. Some of that I find actually pretty interesting. Okay, let me get to a few of these other super chats, and then I want to check in about what's happening on Newsmax. I do want to say thank you to Cher Williams, who just signed up on my website, as well as Brandon Corwin. Thank you to Walter McKenneth, as well as Matthew Esworthy. All 4 folks, great people, signing up on my website. Thanks also to, I guess that's it on Twitch. Maybe Kathy Bates, I'm not sure. But did I mention Kathy Bates? Let's just do it, number 54. Okay, other super chats coming in. DP, sir, don't you think QAnon cuckoos will fade away with America opening back up post-vaccine? I fear that they will not. Oh my God, it's Sean Spicer. Look at this.
Talked about in past shows.
Why is the audio terrible?
Keep adding these layers on and fact checking. You've got to wonder whether or not we're just going down a road where more of the right continues to get censored.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you don't have one part of the party who's willing to hold them accountable, it's an issue. You know, you brought up Europe. I actually think they've done a really good job of holding tech accountable. They've been on many cases year after year, and they have hounded them and they have charged them large amounts. They're still in.
Okay. All right, let's see what else is on people's minds via Super Chat here. You think Trump maybe just has syphilis? I don't know. I'm not in a position to make that call. Whoa, hold on. I just lost a whole bunch of these. Shane says, hey, David, what do you think of Chris Hedges' view that the American empire will decline over the next 2 decades? I think it's possible. I think any of those predictions are... You can always find somebody who makes a prediction and it's right. I think it's very hard to really predict. Trump supporters are fueled by blatant ignorance. Okay, this is a Spanish one. Hola, David, por favor, felicita por mí al equipo de fútbol mexicano Cruz Azul por su noveno campeonato. Gracias, saludos desde Phoenix, Arizona. Okay, congratulations to the Mexican soccer team Cruz Azul, or Blue Cross, for their 9th championship. Very exciting. Huge congratulations. Hey, Dave, got that Magic Spoon cereal. Great with almond milk. Good call. Great to hear it. Tim says David Icke, a conspiracy propagator, just released a motivational video. It's a call to rise up and fight evil. The timing is unsettling. Another piece of ammo for a potential coup. I'm not even going to play it. Not even going to play it. Oh my God, look at this advertisement on Newsmax. Look at this.
Popular semi-automatic modern rifles, handguns, and shotguns. Any magazine with a capacity over 10 rounds. Special license requirement to keep your currently owned semi-automatic guns. Gun confiscation through a so-called government buyback. We must stand up against Schumer and Feinstein's attempt to take away your Second Amendment rights. Please take action now by going to save2a.us.
Really low budget. Really, really low budget. Edward says, watch out for those golden dragon fruits. Eat too many, you'll be in the bathroom longer than you want. Oh my God. I mean, you know, I'm not having a dozen of these things, guys. Please give me the link to your new channel. Can't find the page. It is davidpakman.com/PakmanLive. It's right here. davidpakman.com/PakmanLive. And it is a stunning new channel that we are building up. Yeah, that's the link. davidpakman.com/PakmanLive. Boom, look at that. Little drop in of 10 new subs there. Yeah, it's happening, and we'll check back in on it. Everybody, don't worry. Other super chats. There is no demonstrable, credible evidence showing that trans people have unfair advantage in sport. If you refuse to research and educate yourself on the subject, please refrain from discussing. I don't know if the message is to me. I have researched it. I've found that in some cases and in some sports that is true, and in other cases it is not. When's the hot tub stream, David? I don't have a hot tub. Honest question. How can we conclude the drop in COVID cases is due to vaccines and not seasonal trends, since we were at levels similar to last summer? The deaths last summer were significantly higher. The trajectory is different, and very soon we will be far, far lower. Just give it another 3 weeks, and you will see that it is very much not the case. I went to a small liberal arts college. Half of my friends roomed with communists. Okay. Rudy's super fraud detection voting machine. Stop the fraud you really got to worry about. Yes. Why is the outlook on House 2022 so bad for Democrats? It tends to be bad for the party that wins the White House in the first midterm. That's just it's an historical reality. Frankie says, should have Dr. Umar on one day. Would bring AA views. Good vibes. Don't know who that is. Okay, I'd have to research that. I don't know who that is. Need gardening tips. Ever grown strawberries? Yes, I have a second-year strawberry plant right now, and it's going really, really well. Really well. I love the David Pakman Show. Forgot the coupon code again. David Parkman doesn't even burn. I'm more concerned about the state of the country than I was when Big Orange Head was in the Oval Office. There's some scary stuff going on. I mean, look at these ads on Newsmax, right? This should scare all of us.
Protect our freedoms, our Constitution, and our way of life.
Is this child abuse right here?
We will always salute you.
This This is wild.
Tonight we are a country awakened to danger and called to defend.
Very special on 9/11. John says the scam is that you will buy insurance for something that never happens. The company never has to pay out. Who ended up getting the new producer job? We've hired. I mean, it's no one you know. We've hired someone. We got 350 applications. We narrowed it down, and we are fully staffed right now. Fully staffed. Excellent observation from the pastor. People who don't think are naturally conservative. He was selfish, but now he gives his whole existence to her. Yeah. I've been sending in FBI tips on Q crazies saying there will be a bloodbath on July 4. Now Trump is saying he will be back in power by August. Dominic says, 1, to cause suffering unnecessarily is immoral. 2, to get meat, you must cause suffering. 3, eating meat isn't necessary. 4, getting meat is immoral. All right. This message brought to you by a vegan. Edward, whoa, hold on. Edward says, so he's saying he grew up around a lot of balls? Come on, guys. Come on. This show is so one-sided propaganda. I hope that was worth $2. Australian can't get on? Can't get on what? Why can cyber criminals not afford to heat their homes and always have to wear hoodies? Yeah, I don't know. Mike says, David, how long until masks go away completely? I don't know. But I'm seeing fewer and fewer of them everywhere already. Dr. Umar is a black supremacist. Okay, yeah, we don't really do black supremacy stuff on this show, but I can investigate it. Thanks to Big Ryan Live as well as Photo Fitter for the Twitch Prime subs, numbers 55 and 56. Also want to say thank you to Lawrence Rubin, who just signed up on my website with the coupon code Memorial21. So are they just running old interviews on Newsmax?
And, well, that's the fashionable word these days, I guess. A conservative is no longer just that. He's a libertarian.
Well, always has been. Because how do we call a liberal? You know, someone very profoundly once said many years ago that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism. And what is fascism?
Oh, that certainly was proven wrong the last 4 years, hasn't it? That seems very, very much inaccurate. That's for sure. All right. Thanks, everybody. We got through all of my material. We spent an hour and a half together. Thank you for joining me. That does it for today. I will be back with you. It's going to be so soon, it'll feel like a continuous stream.